Oklahoma. Sherry, you're on Bob Enyart Live with Greg Perry. Speak your mind.
Well, I just wanted to ask a couple questions. Bob had made, I realize it was pre-recorded, but had made a comment last night on the show.
Okay.
About people in Africa.
Okay.
Well, maybe it wasn't last night, but something about people in Africa that if they, talking about the babies being, being executed for pigs and stuff like that.
Okay.
Well,
right.
Well, basically, he said that if you didn't know about God,
okay,
then you would automatically go to hell, and you should know about God, or you will go to hell. Well, what's the point in people spreading God's word if people should already know about Him?
Right. We just in case we quote a Bible verse here on accident or on purpose, we better do a warning because the FCC's listening. So let me try to do a warning here first, Sherry. Warning, warning, Will Robinson, there are Bible verses up ahead. For those of you in the audience who advocate pluralism and diversity, we know here at Bob Enyart Live that you would like to censor anyone who would dare quote a Bible verse in public. So this warning gives you fair notice. Raw, unadulterated truth is about to be uttered. Sherry, I want to ask you one thing. I really don't think Bob used the exact words, and I realize it's been a while, and it was last night's show or probably a week ago or something show, a recent show. I doubt that he said that if someone doesn't know, I believe that you said if someone doesn't know who God is, that they would be going to hell, and I don't think Bob would say that.
Well, basically that if you can't look around and see what God has created and know that He exists, and that then you're doomed.
Okay.
And there's these people in Africa, if someone was to go in and talk to them and explain to them, they would have a choice, and they would be able to make that choice.
Sherry, are you talking about like remote tribes of Africa who don't have technology that we have?
Yeah.
Okay, because we're always hearing about what about all the remote tribes in Africa, which there really aren't many remote tribes in Africa left. There really aren't many remote tribes in the world that are left that haven't been touched by technology. There are people who live on these little tiny islands in South America, and they don't have running water, they don't have anything except television sets all over the island, nothing else. They don't even have light bulbs. So it's kind of hard to find a remote tribe anymore, but I realize what you're asking. I know that in Romans, God says in Romans 1, He makes it clear that no one is without excuse, that everyone knows about God. We can see God in nature even. It doesn't mean that God is in nature like the liberals saying that God is earth and all of that stuff, but God is everywhere. You open your eyes when you walk outside, and God reveals Himself to you. God said that. Bob may have quoted that, but God said that in Romans 1, actually, written by Paul. And so we know that if you just know who God is, that's not enough, is it, to make it to heaven?
No.
What else does it take?
Well, to be saved.
Right, to have a personal relationship with God. That's what it takes. Satan knows God. Satan knows who God is. Is Satan going to heaven?
Well, he was there once, but he ain't there no more.
Right. He's fallen, and believe me, he's not going back. We know that because we know the punchline. We've read the ending. And so I would suggest, Sherry, that a couple of things. We do need to evangelize more than ever before in today's world, because even though everyone knows about God, if you look at Hollywood movies, the words Jesus Christ and God are said more in 1 year's Hollywood movies than they're mentioned in the Bible, I would suggest.
I agree with that.
I would think that statistic is probably correct. That they know who God is. They do everything they can to hate God and to show it. We're going to talk about that in tonight's show about how much Hollywood hates God. But even Satan knows God. The fallen angels knew God. It doesn't mean that they had a relationship. That's our responsibility. That's why we have a personal responsibility to witness. And so many people worry about the tribes, or they bring that up. But Sherry, I have a serious suggestion. It's going to sound very sarcastic, and I really hope you don't take it that way.
I've talked to Bob before,
Oh, okay.
so...
Well, then I'm fine, because I'm the kinder, gentler Bob Enright. If you're that concerned about these remote tribes, perhaps you should consider missionary work. And perhaps you should go down to these tribes and witness to them. You may be led to do something like that.
Well, that's very true, but,
Yeah.
you know, it was just the idea that, well, basically, you know, I may be jumping to something else, I don't know.
That's okay. I always jump to confusions all the time.
Well, the thing is that the problem I have is that that these people, you know, and there's children, and there's people that were never taught about God.
Yes.
And there's people that have been severely abused and
we've got to work harder, Sherry.
Abused so badly that they believe that there is no God, because if God was there, he would have helped them.
It's been beaten out of them. That's another problem with a view that God doesn't he doesn't come in and save people like that. And why is that true? That's a big issue.
Well,
there are a lot of good answers to it, but
well, I understand
we really can't get into that.
That I believe there's a reason for everything. I believe that there's a reason for everything that happens.
Yeah.
On this planet.
Right. Most of the reasons is because, actually, there's really only one reason why most things happen on this planet. That's because of sin. It's our nature. It's our nature to reject God, even though we know who he is. Sherry, we've got some other callers who've been waiting. I really appreciate your calling in.
Could I ask you one quick question before you...
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. How's the weather in Tulsa right now?
Oh, it's been really hot.
What a
100.
surprise.
It's supposed to be 100 for like a couple more days.
Well, hasn't the mayor done something about that yet?
Well, they're trying. They've opened up, you know, we had a real bad storm and electricity went off about a month ago, and they're talking about some problems with, you know, electricity because people are having to use so much. But as far as like around Tulsa and Oklahoma City, they're saying there's not a problem as of yet with that.
That's what they said all day in Denver today. They said, turn off your electricity, turn off your air conditioners because the electricity's going out. And
yeah.
Of course, no one who has a brain cell.
Gonna be a blackout or something.
Yeah, no one ever turned off their electricity. Well, a lot of the liberals said they did, but they didn't. They probably did turn them up just as anyone with a brain would. But the electricity did go out tonight in Denver, but it's probably due to the lightning. But I know in the morning, PSA, the local public service company, is going to say it's because we used our electricity too much. So
yeah, and the bills will be really high.
Yeah. Hey, Sherry, I'm sorry I interrupted you. Did you have something else? Real quick, we've got to go.
Real quick, I just wanted to know. I respect a lot of what Bob says, but I don't understand his point in his humiliation and getting his point across. He can really try to humiliate people, and when he hears something he don't want to hear, he claims you're getting off the subject.
Yeah. Well, actually, sometimes when he asks a question and someone will answer it and then go on to another topic before they really haven't answered the question, it's just kind of his method of doing things. He has a very short time to grab hold of these people's attention. Sure, I have a very interesting statistic, or as we say in Oklahoma, statistic. I'm from Oklahoma also. And it says that 7 out of 8 people who watch Bob Enyart Live never, ever watch Christian television, and they'd never listen to Christian radio. So somehow Bob's grabbing 7/8 of his audience. It doesn't mean they're not Christians. Many are not. But it means that 7 out of 8 people who watch this show never watch Christian TV anywhere else. There's got to be a reason for that. And Bob's effectively getting people to tune in and hear these issues that are important. And ultimately, Bob's primary goal is to do the whole reason you called in is to witness to people. That's really the only thing he ultimately cares about. And sometimes a caller goes. Sometimes a caller just wants to go to hell. I mean, I don't know of any other way to put it. And if they're just going to want to do that, and they're going to, and it's their decision, they go. You know, what can Bob do?
I think there's probably a few people out there that, you know, they want to go to hell, but I don't think that people walk around thinking, you know, well,
Yeah.
I want to go to hell, so
Yeah, I
I'm going
know.
to do this.
Well, a lot of times you hear, well, I want to be with all my friends, so I want to go there, and they don't realize how bad that light little joke, light-hearted statement really is, and how they won't see any of their friends down there. They're going to be in too much agony. But Sherry, thanks for your call.
Okay, well,